Hey yo everybody, XEI here for another vlog. I have a stack of books in front of me that I want to show you guys. This was part of a book haul that I did post-Christmas, a little Christmas gift to myself, and I don't know if this would surprise many of you, but we're just going to get right down to it. Here's the first one. We have The Stolen Throne. This book right here, as far as I know, well, first of all, it's written by David Gator, which is the lead writer of the Dragon Age series. The name is now very familiar to me. It keeps coming up in comics and whatnot. So if you see that name, you know that this stuff is as canon as it can get. It's a standard novel, 400-page novel. It comes with the staple fantasy map front page. This book in particular follows the adventures of Merrick and Logain, as you guys told me in the comments. So Merrick before he's king, and Logain before he's an asshole. So looking forward to this one. The next one up is The Calling, also by David Gator. And this one covers, and it doesn't say it on the back, shockingly enough, it doesn't get into who is in this book, but of course I flipped to the first couple pages. I like to see when books are printed just to get a chronological order, both from a printing perspective as well as a chronological order from a timeline perspective. It comes with the same world map at the front, and then of course I flipped to chapter 1 just to get a quick read of the first paragraph, something I enjoy doing. And in the very first line we have, less than a year earlier, the only way Duncan would have seen the inside of a palace would have been at the sword point of a prison guard. So this one looks like it takes place 200 years after King Merrick has allowed the legendary Grey Wardens to return to Ferelden, and presumably one of their own has escaped into the deep roads to align himself with the ancient enemy, the monstrous Darkspawn. So something about Duncan's past with Darkspawn, I don't know. Try to keep it spoiler free in the comments. I'm going to try to get through these as soon as possible. I got a lot of stuff on my stack right now, but try to keep it as spoiler free as possible in the comments, please. I'm trying to keep these as spoiler free as possible for myself, even when I'm researching these things, so I don't accidentally screw something up for myself. So the next one up is actually this guy right here. It's the Dragon Age. It's a collected Dragon Age series printed by IDW. This collection was printed in 2011. It was written by Orson Scott Card, and I'm gonna have to speak a little bit about this because the name sounded familiar to me, but I didn't quite know where I knew the name. So it's the writer of Ender's Game. Now I haven't read that series, but I understand that it was a big part of influencing 80s sci-fi. It's won awards, etc., etc. But reading his Wikipedia page, I also found out that he's pretty much a prolific anti-homosexual evangelist, and I'm not even exaggerating that. You can go to his wiki page and scroll down. You'll see a whole section called Views about homosexuality, and everyone's entitled to their opinion and to write about what they want, but I will say, as a choice of writer for a franchise like Dragon Age, I feel like it's already sort of affected my approach to this book. You know what I mean? This franchise is well known for its exploration of sexuality, or at least it brings that to video games in a way that I don't recall many other games in the mid-2000s doing. Dragon Age alongside Mass Effect, it's defined itself by that, and so to have a writer like Orson Scott Card writing a series for the franchise, I feel like it's a little bit suspect right out the gate. It's unfortunate too. So the artist here is Mark Robinson. I'm pretty familiar with quite a few artists in the industry. I wasn't familiar with this guy. He's got a very Euro style to his cartooning. I'm just gonna flip to a random page here. I've got no context here, but there you go. You can kind of see just his art style. I had to look him up real quick on comics, on Comic Vine. Looks like he did some work on Hulk Comics, Skull Kill Crew during the Dark Reign. He's got a book for Storm Shadow for Devil's Due Publishing, which I've heard very good things about Devil's Due Publishing G.I. Joe series. I should look those ones up. I don't want to derail right now. So at this point, I looked up the dates of the game releases, and so Dragon Age 2 gets released in 2011. And so that brings us to this next novel right here, which is Asunder, also written by David Gator, so the visionary of this entire series. And this book right here was published post Dragon Age 2, December 2011, so a few months after Dragon Age 2 was released. So I'm sure that this was in some attempt to also promo, the game and to get more people interested in the franchise via fiction. And so this one right here, all of this is unfamiliar to me because, of course, I haven't played Dragon Age 2. But in any case, I don't know who Reese is, but it looks like Reese or Rice is the main character here. He's the only one who can see some sort of killer, some sort of invisible killer. Eventually, I think Wynn is in it. It mentions Wynn here. Something about Orlais and Val Royeaux. So it looks like it goes all over the place. Again, I have no context. I'm curious to see what the map is. Ooh-wee. Okay, it's a little pretty. So Empire of Orlais. So it looks like it is going to take place in Orlais. I'm actually very curious about. I like what goes down in Orlais. I mean, I hate the country because of stuff I've learned in Origins, but I'm intrigued about story, just intrigue. So I think if you're going to write a story about intrigue, you got to write it in Orlais. So there you go. So there's Orlais. This is a post Dragon Age 2. Another series that comes post Dragon Age 2 is this stuff right here. So this is a collected edition of digital comics. This is published by Dark Horse. So yeah, it collects digital comics. So a 6-part series and 2 different smaller series, 3 comics each. So the 6-parter is called The Silent Grove, features Alistair alongside Isabella, which, if I remember that name correctly, she was the lady inside the Pearl, which... very short interaction with her, and I think I got the duelist class off of her, and some other guy, Varric. I don't know who Varric is. So, follows Alistair's journey to discover more about his father, Merrick. And then there's the 3-part series called Those Who Speak, and then followed by a 3-part series called Until We Sleep. And Until We Sleep actually follows Varric, and he goes into the Fade or something. Anyways, I got no context here. I don't like reading too much further into things. I'm going to open to a random page. I shall do it right here so that I don't flip through it much. So there you go. There's the art here. So the artist is a guy by the name of Chad Hardin. Also a name that seemed familiar to me, but I didn't quite pick up on it. He's well known for his Harlequin comics series right now. It's a prolific series over at DC. It's getting a lot of great reviews. So that's where he comes from. So it looks like he jumped from this to Harlequin. It looks like it's really good art and really good production value. Dark Horse is solid through and through. This takes us to 2012 is when these things got released. So each of these series throughout 2012, and that leads us to there's 2 more novels that I didn't buy yet because I didn't want to get too ahead of myself. The 2 books I'm missing are The Masked Empire, which I believe is a story about Celine, or her history or her backstory, and then the other one is The Last Flight, which is about griffins. I don't know if it's that there are no more griffins. I remember banter in the game about griffins or something, but I don't think they exist in the game. Maybe they do. I don't know. But anyways, those are the 2 books I'm missing, and I believe they were both published in 2014, and that coincides with Inquisition getting released in 2014 as well. And then I found another comic series collection, which baffled me who the writer is on this right here. So we have Dragon Age Mage Killer. It's written by Greg Rucka, which, if you're a comic fan, you know who Greg Rucka is. He broke comics with a series called Whiteout for Oni Press. Another famous series back in the day was Queen and Country. I listened to a lot of comic podcasts years and years ago, and he's a great guy to listen to, by the way. He's a very enthusiastic guy. He's very much into understanding comic and storytelling. He was a co-creator for Gotham Central, which is kind of like the crime unit for Gotham, alongside Ed Brubaker. He did a lot of work with, best known for Batwoman in DC. This goes on and on. Lazarus is a great series from the last couple of years. It's a series I'm going to be picking up. And then he went to this, which is the most recent of his indie work, quote unquote. It's for a video game franchise. But anyways, he writes a lot of like intrigue, crime, storytelling, political intrigue kind of stuff. And he's known for writing characters that are sexually diverse, that's the kind of guy you want on a franchise like this, not like the other guy. But anyways, the art in here too. Let me just do a random flip here to one of the pages. Boom. So we got, it's very solid art. It's very, very solid art. Another artist I wasn't very familiar with, his name is Carmen Carnero. I had to look it up on Comic Vine as well. He's working on Faith right now for Valiant Comics, which is getting great reviews as well. But overall, he's pretty unknown, but at least to me, I feel like wrong saying that, but it doesn't look like he has any prolific work out there. Anyways, very, very solid looking art style. It's like a safe art style is what I call it. But it's a great writer. So can't wait to read this, but I can't because this is post-Inquisition, so I got to stay the hell away from this book. Sometimes I buy books because some of them get really hard to find. Nowadays, not so much because they'll go into multiple printing, but I've had a hell of a time trying to pick up books from the 90s and early 2000s, especially from bigger companies. Anyway, so that's it for the Dragon Age books. I think that's going to take up quite a bit of time, and like I said, I can't read half of these things, but they're in the collection now. At least I know they're there. 2 bonus graphic novels I'm going to bring up in this episode because I'm not going to talk too much about them because that'll be for a future episode and maybe a post review like after I've actually read them. Boom. So I bought The Witcher, House of Glass, written by Paul Tobin and with art by Joe Querio. Same thing with The Fox Children, The Second Trade. These are also published by Dark Horse. Let me flip to a random art page so you can see what Querio's art style is like. I think it's pretty good. The covers are pretty good. I did flip through this stuff. I feel like the single here, like check this cover out, right? Compared to this isn't a bad cover, but I feel like the art style of the single issues is much stronger from a design perspective. So I wish they would have used that instead. Now I will speak about the cover for this, of course, is the King Mike Mignola himself, and holy smokes, I've always loved the art style of Mike Mignola. I don't know if no, he didn't. I was going to say, did he do all the single issue covers? He did not. Great art style in here, holy smokes, very dynamic. But anyways, I'm going to pick up some novels later on too. But I don't want to get too crazy with Witcher because then I'm gonna get motivated to play that game as well, which I need to tone down on right now. There's enough going on the channel. Maybe I'll do episodes in the future where I review these books after I'm done reading them. I'll talk about them a little bit more, and I'll do this little spoiler warning at the front of the episode just so that people can bail if they don't want anything ruined. But it'll allow us to have a conversation in the comment thread, and that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoy this. I'll do more, especially from the graphic novel standpoint. I would love to do more of these vlogs that focus on graphic novel series. I read quite a few of them. I have an enormous collection, hundreds and hundreds of them, and it would get me to finally get to reading them more often. Like right now I'm playing so many video games, I'm reading way less. But anyways, that's a wrap. I'm rambling on and on and on. I do this every time, so I'm going to cut myself off and I'm going to say, don't forget to explore, engage, and inspire, folks. Peace, everybody.